wait.
Finally? Come on.
LA trip. U25Bs?
Yes, production samples of U25Bs.
Why wasn't I informed?
You are now.
Are we doing a video?
That's what the camera's for.
Why didn't you tell me? I would have dressed the part.
Who's Springsteen? What is that?
The boss? Not Jason.
No.
The real boss.
The real boss. Okay.
All right.
Well, go change.
I can't change. Ask my wife.
Okay. Debbie.
Sorry it took so long, but
Finally.
20 miles each way is a long way here in this town.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, wow. I'm excited.
Yeah, they look pretty good.
Yeah, they do.
Well, let's talk about them. Please?
Let's show them.
Okay.
Now, what we see here are the original high-nosed U25Bs. When GE first developed them, high-nose was standard. Think about EMD GP9s, for example. So they built two sets of demonstrators. The early set, 4 units in red and white paint scheme, red on the bottom, white on top. Those tested on several roads and eventually were sold to the Frisco Railroad. The later demonstrators were a little different. They had a different paint scheme, obviously, more red than white. And 3 high-nose units, 1 low-nose unit. Why low-nose? The railroads were beginning to prefer that by the time GP35s and things were standard. So the demonstrators in the second batch were eventually sold to Union Pacific. Both Frisco and Union Pacific purchased high-nosed units. Frisco units were originally painted black and yellow. This is the second paint scheme, began about 1967, mandarin orange and white. And some of them had the orange stripes on the nose and some did not have. They had a white nose instead. The orange stripes were added later. Union Pacific, again, they had their standard paint scheme on there. There were some subtle variations from unit to unit through the years. And they had high-nose and low-nose units, particularly given that they bought the very first low-nose unit produced from GE. Oh, and a note for Santa Fe modelers. The Frisco units used to come to LA on the Santa Fe, coming over Cajon Pass on a through freight from Memphis. So there's another reason to buy them.
Here are the low-nose U25B units. The railroads were looking for better visibility for the crews, and so the locomotive builders started experimenting with lowering the short hood and adding extra window glass for, obviously, better visibility. Here are the first production units for Rapido on our low-nose U25B. We first have Santa Fe, and with the road-specific details, we have the extra extended raised walkway on the engineer side rear. We have, of course, the low nose. We have the different antenna styles, different exhaust styles, and the low nose units all had a different style fuel tank than the high nose units. And this style is one solid fuel tank, and it has the air tanks fore and aft. The other big difference on these is that they had different style steps on the walkways. These are the more traditional step style as compared to the ladder style that the high nose units have. So, like I mentioned, here's Santa Fe. And then we have Erie-Lackawanna in the first run, as well as New Haven with the cab signal box on the side of the nose and non-dynamic. So the dynamic grids are out of the radiator section. And then behind the New Haven, we have Penn Central in 2 different paint schemes, one with the big PC logo, one without. There are 2 road numbers of each. And the Penn Central units are ex-New Haven units. And then as well, we have Great Northern. Some subtle variations on there, different exhaust canister, different exhaust bucket, different horns, different antenna details, that type of thing. So all in all, road-specific details on all of our U25Bs, but here are the low-nose units. So now that we've done a brief overview of the models in this production run, let's go over some of the lighting and sound features that the models have. And here we have UP number 628. And so, of course, we start with our headlight, and then we press F11 for our front class lights, or class lights in the short hood, rather. And then if we go back to the rear of the locomotive, we will press F13 and get our rear headlight. And if we press F25, we'll get our rear class lights. And now let's take a look at our cab interior light, which we toggle by pressing F16. There we go. And back off again. And by turning on the sound with the ESU decoder by pressing F8, that also turns on the lights inside the control stand. And so once we have our sound going, press F1 and we get our standard bell sounds. And of course the horn is the horn. And here we go. We hope you've enjoyed this brief overview of the first production samples of the U25Bs. They are wrapping up the production as we speak. Well, it's bedtime over there, so not this minute.
Let's wake them up.
Yeah. So we look for these to be arriving in summer 2023. So if you have not placed your order for these units, get with your favorite dealer and do so now. Make sure that your reservation is saved. We'd also like to thank Steve and the California Southern Railroad Club, Model Railroad Club here in Norwalk, California for opening the layout for us and their hospitality to allow us to shoot the videos here.
And we hope that when you see these in person, you're as excited about them as we are.
Cut.
Lunatics!